Back in the first half of 1997, before it was decided that Power Rangers in Space would be the gripping finale to the series, a series Bible for the show was created, and it's very, very different from the show that we got. In this video, I'm going to be going over the Bible and showing you exactly what would have been different. So, based on the fact that I do upload a video every single day, and the fact that this video was supposed to be really, really long, I have had to split it up into 3 parts. So yes, this is part 2 of a 3-part video. Watch the first part first if you want to. You could probably piece together what you need to know if you just watch this video though. And in this video I'll be going over some more developed ideas on the season, as well as the transition from Turbo to In Space. On the 29th of May, Shuki Levy would release a memorandum as well as some documents on his ideas for the transition from Power Rangers Turbo to Power Rangers in Space. First, I'm going to be going through the memorandum and 10 little story notes that he had based off of the feedback he had gotten from this previous document. 1. In my opinion, we should stick with the exact elements from the Japanese show, i.e. they're not going to bring in original villains, weapons, or mecha. 2. All evil characters, apart from the familiar ones, will be masked. However, we won't be using any of the Japanese characters, i.e. all of the villains that will be brought over for Mega Ranger are going to be the ones that are going to be fully in costume, not the ones where you can see the Japanese actors' faces, because those are harder to dub. 3. No Japanese footage will be used for villains. The only Japanese footage which will be used in the space season will be some of the Megazord/monster battles, those which will take place on Earth, and those which we can treat to look like they are taking place on some other planet. That essentially means that instead of being something like Mighty Morphin Season 1, where all of the scenes on the Moon Palace are Japanese footage that's dubbed over, you get something like Power Rangers Time Force, where all the cryo prison scenes are original American footage. 4. The Power Dome set will be designed in the next 10 days or so. So this Power Dome is a base of operations that was created for this draft of the transition that never ended up in the final show. And in this document that I have here, there's actually nothing in terms of design for the Power Dome, with the exception of some notes that Shuki Levy puts in this document. So that either means that it never was designed, or it was and it's just not included. 5. Alpha will still appear on the show. Now, it's not clear whether that's Alpha 5 or Alpha 6, because the synopsis coming up has both, but yeah. 6. I don't have an answer as to whether the Mega Delta Zord belongs to the Silver Ranger. We don't have any footage yet, and we should also discuss whether to bring the Silver Ranger in at all. Basically, that means the Mega Delta Zord reverts to the Mega Winger, I believe, and it's basically talking about whether that will be the Silver Rangers or not, and how by the time this was made, Mega Ranger was still airing, so they didn't even know whether that would for sure be the Silver Ranger Zord in the footage or not. And he also notes, interestingly, that there's the possibility of not having the Silver Ranger in the show at all. 7. Personally, I would like to keep the names Digitizer and Galaxy Megazord. Yeah, that would not stay the same. Number 8, Silver Ranger question. I'm not really sure what that's supposed to be. 9. We will use the same action whether we take it from the Japanese footage or shoot it ourselves. I'm not really sure what that means. Obviously, a lot of these are in response to questions he got from the creative team between that original document and this one. So I'm sure that makes sense within the context of that question, but not really by itself. And number 10, Dark Spectre will be a prominent character. His image is available on the Turbo footage. As for the concept, the following is the updated version with more production notes to come. I.e., in the original version, Dark Spectre was not going to use the suit from Malagor from Turbo Power Rangers movie, but instead Emperor Exhaust from Car Ranger, which we would instead get as Gold Goyle, the villain from the Turbo finale. Alright, so now let's get into that transition from Turbo to Space document. Power Rangers, transition from Turbo to Space. The adventures of the Power Rangers in space should be set up during the 4 episodes before the conclusion of the Turbo season. All the following ideas should be implicated as major subplots to the Turbo storylines. During the last episode of the season, i.e. episode number 249, this subplot will become the cliffhanger of the season. The following story breakdown will clarify it better. Basically what that means is that what they're about to say for the Turbo episodes is going to be essentially the subplot of the last few episodes, but not the A-plot, and that the A-plot will be using the Car Ranger footage. Alright, here we go. Turbo, episode number 246 through episode number 249. Demetria gets a signal from space. She informs Alpha 5 and our viewers that the Phantom Ranger is on his way to the Cimmerian planet. A meeting is called by the Great Monarch, Dark Spectre. Please note that this creature is the big head from the Japanese footage of Car Rangers. A group of the elite evil leaders of the universe is creating a congregation which will meet with the Great Monarch. The Great One has called on this meeting to discuss the defeat of all the powers of goodness. Evil shall prevail. The Phantom Ranger travels in space and lands on a dark planet. There is nothing in sight for miles on end. Everything is dim apart from some distant planet in deep space. Smoke sneaks its way out from cracks in the ground. He looks up and sees an incredible sight. Up on top of one single mountain there is a huge platform made of stone. Big columns are standing tall on each corner of the platform. Please note that this establishing shot will be done by combining a miniature model and video graphics. One by one, out of deep space, fireballs of evil energy approach the mountaintop. They all disappear as they reach the platform. Please note, the 4 giant columns, the surface of the platform, and some other rock formations will become the set of the evil guys. The majority of this footage could be shot ahead of time and used as stock during each episode of Space Rangers. This, plus most of the action in space, will be shot in a stage which I will refer to later as the Space Stage. The Phantom Ranger has to make his way up to the top of the mountain so he can spy on the meeting of all evils. As he manages to find himself in clear view of the platform, he watches in horror as he sees the group of evil leaders. Divatox, Rita Repulsa, Lord Zed, Goldar, and 4 other strange-looking creatures are standing there, each with their own group of warriors and purple putties. They are all awaiting the arrival on the Monarch. The Monarch of Evil is an enormous floating head. It is bigger than the platform, bigger than the whole mountain. His breath alone causes a strong wind to blow over the surface of the platform. He addresses the congregation and orders them to kidnap Zordon from his home planet and bring him to the Cimmerian planet. There they will drain him of his good energy and turn his powers to evil. Once this is done, Zordon will cease to exist. As the Phantom Ranger tries to leave the planet and warn Zordon, he gets caught and is taken prisoner. He manages to send the urgent signals to the command center on Earth. Episode 249. The final episode of the season will show the Monarch and all the evil leaders crossing their wands together to create an incredible energy of power. Back in his dimension on his own planet, Alpha 5 looks on as the evil energy captures Zordon. The fear that Zordon's powers will be used for destruction, with Zordon's life on the line, and with the capture of the Phantom Ranger, the Power Rangers are faced with the mission which they are uncertain they are prepared for. They must travel into deep space and face the challenge of their lives. Cliffhanger. So that's the ending of Power Rangers Turbo. Now let's talk about the first few episodes of Power Rangers in Space. Here we go. Power Rangers in Space. Episodes number 250 through 254. The Power Rangers will meet Demetria at night upon a flat mountaintop. She will introduce them to their new Power Dome. At the middle of next week, I will meet with our creative people and design the dome. Once approved, we will deliver the design to Bandai so they can start working on the large playset. This Power Dome will be constructed as a miniature set and will be floating in space not too far from planet Earth. Once inside, a giant pyramid made of silky material will become the set. Nothing else. The walls of silk will change constantly with special effect lights creating the different moods and intensity of certain emergency situations. The Power Rangers will also be introduced to their space station, which is floating further in the dark, deep space. The Rangers will travel upon their power gliders, suggested name, from Earth to the Power Dome and from there to their space station. In search of the Cimmerian planet, the Rangers will travel through space inside their space station. In the midst of a battle, the Rangers will call on their space station to transform into the Megazord. Please note, this is the first Megazord on the toy schedule. We need to decide on a final name for it. Sets. We should get rid of the Juice Bar set as well as 95% of the school set. The only part we need to keep is the corridor with the lockers. The command center should become the space station interior. The reason I say should become is because I'd like to use as much of the detailed walls of the command center set for the reconstruction of the new set. That is, as much as possible, of course. The space set. This should be the largest area possible, surrounded by a giant green/blue screen. On this set, we will shoot all the interior power dome, the evil platform, and most of the Megazord battles. So yeah, there's some interesting stuff there, so I just want to clear a few things up. Earlier it said that they would be using purple putties. Now that's not referring to an original foot soldier, that's referring to that they were planning on using the foot soldiers from Mega Ranger as opposed to the original foot soldiers, the Quantrons, which they eventually used. Also, because there weren't final names for a lot of stuff, the space station is the Astro Megazord that would be kind of deep into space, which is a really cool idea, I think. And the power gliders are the galaxy gliders. I do think the ideas for the Power Dome set are interesting, but I don't think they're really that practical. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you watch part 1 if you haven't. Part 3 will be coming soon, or might already be out, depending on when you watch that. And on that, I'll basically be looking at some concept art for the series, as well as some other little nuggets of information that we see, and also basically doing a whole roundup summary on what this season will be. So I'll see you then. Bye.